Now today's tutorial is if you want to become a CPF millionaire by 55, or if you want to, liberate your mind and understand that it's actually possible. Maybe right now you're quite young and you don't have much in CPF and the road ahead seems very far. So you like someone to show you the path ahead, and maybe this video is really for you. So today, let me share with you the real secrets of building $1 million in CPF, and I'll actually start by piggybacking on something that Money Hour has actually written. They've done it very well, they've done the calculations already, so that will be my initial starting premise. But stay tuned right to the very end because I'll show you how to accelerate getting to that $1 million, especially if you are serious. So without further ado, let me pull up this article by Money Hour, which I'll leave links below also. Building $1 million with CPF by working contributions. Key summary points: how you can consistently make work contributions and build up to $1 million by 65. We want to get it by 55, but we'll still see what are the paths ahead. Understanding the impact of salary growth and how upskilling can accelerate your CPF savings. Later, we have some diagrams to touch on it. And last but not least, the trade-offs between using CPF for property, which will mean less for your retirement savings. So let's start with the first graph here below. And in this scenario 1, it's actually if you start off at age 25 and have wage increment of 3.8% per year in your entire working career. Some of us watching may not be growing their incomes at this pace, or some of us watching may be growing incomes at a way faster pace. But let's look for learning points. There are 3 lines over there. The blue one is if your starting wage is 4,000, which is actually very reasonable for today's fresh graduates. It's true. I understand 4,000 for starting pay is quite high, but really that's on the ground what is happening. And the orange line, starting wage of 2,900, and green line, starting wage of 2,400. And in these 3 lines, you see that they grow up over time, correct? And eventually by 65, everybody can reach $1 million. Take note again, this balance is OA and SA, which will eventually become RA. It does not include MediSave, which should be the way, because MediSave you can't use for retirement income. It is purely for insurance premiums as well as medical needs. So only OA and SA, you can really reach 1.7 million with just the blue line. And take note again, the actual amount may be higher as they did not factor in bonuses. But let's draw back to the point. Age 55. If we want to get there with $1 million, this graph teaches us one thing. You need to have sufficiently good income, which is in the blue line over there. Good starting pay, climbing at 3.8%. Now to verify whether we can get there, I've actually done my own calculations, which if I can, I'll leave links below also for you to follow on. And over here, although the number is much lesser, I haven't factored in interest along the years because that's quite hard to calculate. I only can tabulate the total amount. And as you can see with some interest, this 1.05 million is likely correct. But 1.05 million, of this amount, based on my experience seeing cases on a weekly basis, 70% is actually in OA. Then 30% of this is roughly in SA. So again, OA can really have 700,000. But again, 700,000, that assumes that the person is not using it for house, correct? If you use for house, then of course no $1 million already. So that's the first thing that you can take away from today. If you want to build $1 million of savings in your CPF by 55, you probably can't use any of it for your property. Maybe you're still happily staying with your parents, or you have structured your mortgage so you use by cash only. Then yeah, it's true that you can really build $1 million in your CPF by 55. Now, having spoken to here, I know some of you may be thinking, hey, my income is different from what is projected here. Am I really in a bad situation? So let me show you some forum figures. How about that? I've seen also in forum that some who have shared are from different background, different work situation. Someone at age 31 has 40,000 in OA and SA at 11,000. From first glance, this figure seems quite low. Probably in the green color trajectory like what we described just now. And also to confirm that, we can compare with some other feedback. Another guy aged 29 having 49,000 already in OA and SA 13,000. 2 years is a lot. You can grow your CPF quite a bit through employment and through compounding. Then another guy aged 33, you see that SA is 47,000, OA is 17,000, but that also does not exclude 100,000 gone towards housing. I think this is more in the median salary. And as always, if you have questions and comments, leave them in the sections below. I'll try my best to help you address. And let's move on to some insights from the article. The first one is that the power of consistent contribution is important to build $1 million in CPF. I fully agree on that. And if you are looking for early retirement, then maybe CPF $1 million is not too easy. The second is that growing your salary is vitally important. Absolutely true. Pay increment will naturally give you more CPF, and you compound this, that is essential. If not, again, you cannot hit $1 million. So again, work hard and learn the right skills and be with the right company also. And last but not least, the effects of using CPF for property. Many people tie up their CPF into properties, and the worst part is sometimes their loans are so big until they need to pay it off until 65. Since we are talking about numbers, let me show you also my own CPF. I'm on a self-employed, so all this has been voluntarily contributed, and my main purpose has always been to reduce on taxes. My SA has about 192,000, so it's reaching full number sum pretty soon, and I'm at the age of 41. Let's speak about OA. I have 24,000 inside. First 20,000 cannot invest, and I've actually invested $43,000 already. This ties into the next concept I have for you to build your CPF $1 million, which is to invest your CPF properly. First question you may be thinking is, Josh, is it really worth to invest CPF? Because I see so many headlines. CPF investors have lost their monies, or CPF investors have not even beaten 2.5%. It's true, but let me show you some simulations. This one over here runs a study whereby investors in MSCI were from 2012 to 2022. This 10-year span, there were ups and downs, whereby MSCI World was growing at 9.6%, 31%, 10%, so on and so forth, and with some years of negative. Sarah grew her 30,000 into 93,800, triple the amount. And versus her 20,000 uninvested in CPF, that grew only to 25,009. 93,008 versus 25,009. You see now there's a world of difference, correct? But again, is this cherry picking data or not? Like, hey, maybe other periods an investor may not make such money. It's true. That's why I like to see some caution also in terms of expectation. Now, to invest in the MSCI World Index, simply look for Infinity Global Stock Index Fund. This is CPF OA approved. In just now scenario 2012 to 2022, it was a very nice scenario because 2022 is this arrow pointing to the market top, right? Some other periods when we segment may not yield that return. In fact, if you look into the annualized return below, you would see that some investors who have invested this year only, year to date, are still losing money. Those that invested for 1 year, only 6%, not like 9 or 31%. So again, different periods have different investment results. But the main thing is, over 10 years, that is 8.46%. Fairly decent. And if you want to be even more conservative, let's look at the fact sheets since inception results. On the top bar is Sing Dollar. And you realize that Sing Dollar is less than US dollar one because US dollar has weakened, correct? So as Singapore investors, we don't take the US dollar benchmark for MSCI World. We're looking in terms of Sing dollars, and although 10-year return is 8.5%, since inception return is only at 4.05%. Still not bad, what? Still beats CPF OA return, is still equivalent to SA return. And this since inception is a very, very conservative mark because this fund started in year 2000, which is the dot-com crash. Timing-wise, the absolute most terrible. So even if you invest today and it turns out to be the worst timing, if you invest for 25 years, you can still expect 4%. If you think about it, don't even need to transfer from OA to SA for 4%, right? Correct? If you happen to be lucky, you can even see some investments have yielded over 5 years, annualized return 20 to 30+%, which will have tripled or quadrupled a portfolio very easily. I've seen for myself in private clients, a 50,000 investment turning to 200,000+ with enough time and with certain luck in investing in sectors that did very well. And speaking to here, if you'd like to be a private client of mine, look for my links below. I can help you on a one-to-one basis. I work on a fee, and before I start, I always look whether I can help deliver enough value whether there's enough complexities in the case or not. So typical clients that I work with are in the middle stage in life, whereby there's investments made, there's loans made already, and they need a sounding voice to rebuild their finances and march towards retirement. These are some kind words from private clients that I work with, and I have limited slots in private clients that I can take on a week. And if you think my method is what you're looking for, again, look for links below. So let's recap the key formulas to get to $1 million by age 55 in your CPF. The first is to build your CPF with proper income and grow that income well. The second is to cap your CPF offer for mortgage to as low as possible. And the third is to invest your CPF OA. Invest it well, of course. And follow this formula with $1,000 per month for 30 years, say 25 to 55. With 6.5% rate of return, it will grow to $1,036,000. Compare that to 2.5% CPF OA return, you realize you have doubled that money. If you happen to be a very good investor, you can even make 2+ million in your CPF OA. Singapore's first few CPF multi-millionaire. So if these three is a bit like Harry Potter's Deathly Hallows. To beat $1 million, you need strong income, you need to preserve that away from mortgage, and last but not least, invest it well. 3 essential ingredients to beat $1 million. Thank you for watching right very end. I have this previous video to share with you. Can you get the full retirement sum with just median income? Very interesting topic that's similar to this, and I think it might give you more insights. With that, sound from me here, and see you there. Take care as always. Goodbye.